lose fat while eating the foods that you enjoy. This is the exact strategy that I teach all of my clients, women, men, who are done with the fad diets and the yo cycles, the clean eating, the starting over every Monday. So if you've tried everything and nothing sticks, you're in the right place, because this isn't just another diet. This is a framework, one that adapts to your goals, to your lifestyle, and to your preferences. Whether you're tracking macros to the gram, you're winging it on vacation, or you're really seeking to feel in control again, this method works in every season. And once you understand how flexible dieting and the 80-20 approach actually work, I promise you that you will never see food, nor will you see fat loss the same way again. Let's get one thing straight right off the jump. You were never the problem. The fitness industry profits when you feel like a failure. You've been told things like carbs are the enemy. And if you aren't dropping weight on the scale, then you're not making progress. And you need detox teas, fat burners, magic potion pills, and extreme plans to make progress. What about this one? Just eat less and move more. And so when that doesn't work, you blame yourself. You restrict harder. You start over again. And I know you've probably felt frustrated, defeated. You're the one who just can't stay consistent. But here's the truth. You don't need more willpower. You need a better framework. Stop chasing perfection and let's start building something that you can actually sustain. Next, I'm going to show you how to finally shift out of food guilt into food freedom. Let's break down what flexible dieting really is and why it works when every other diet has failed. First, it's not about cutting carbs or about cutting sugar. It's about consistently hitting your calorie and your macro targets in a way that fits your life. Because here's the truth, there's room for both. A grilled chicken bowl that keeps you full and a cookie that satisfies a craving. So one of my clients recently swapped her protein cookie that she has been eating for 420 calories with a chicken and vegetable bowl, way more fullness. And it completely changed the outlook of the rest of her day. Her afternoon energy was skyrocketed. And that's the power of intentional choices, not restriction, just a strategy that gives you both flexibility and gives you results. So we're going to take that one step further and we're going to reframe how you actually classify food so you feel in control and not confused. Now that we've thrown the idea of good and bad foods away, we have to replace it with a better question. How does this food serve me today? Because not all foods need to serve the same purpose, and that's the point. Some keep you full, some give you energy, and some are purely for joy or nostalgia. But all of them can fit when they're chosen with intention. And this is where flexible dieting really starts to click. Your body isn't judging food based on where it came from. Whether it's a drive-through burger or whether it's a homemade meal, it's breaking it down into carbs, fats, and proteins, making up calories. Instead of labeling food good, bad, healthy, clean, dirty, let's get curious. Ask, does this help me stay full today? Will this food fuel my recovery for performance? Am I simply choosing this food to enjoy it without guilt? And so when you can start to classify food based on how it serves your goals, that's where real flexibility and results start. Some foods are going to be more satiating. They're going to help you stay fuller longer. Some foods are going to be more nutrient dense, packed with vitamins, with minerals, and quality fuel. And then others are high volume. They're going to give you more food for fewer calories, salads, popcorns, vegetables. You can eat a lot of that, fruit, and it's not going to pack the calorie punch. And so when we're in a caloric deficit and we're trying to lose weight, you could start to see why it makes sense that we want a good portion of our foods to come from these style or classifications of food. No shame, no restriction, just empowered choices that match your goals in your real life. So let's take this one step further and let's break down how to actually read a food label, because this is where most people get really confused. First, I want you to check the serving size. This doesn't always mean one package is equal to one serving. Actually, more times than not, that's not the case. And so this is a serving size of 2/3 cup. So the label's reading 230 calories, but there are 8 servings in the container, as we can see. So if you ate the whole container, you're really eating 1,800 calories and not 230. Then let's check our macros per serving. So 8 grams of fat, 37 grams of carbs, 3 grams of protein per 55 grams. So important to note here, calories are going to tell you how much energy is in that food. Macros are going to tell you how that energy is then distributed. And that impacts how satisfied you feel, how you recover, and whether or not you're moving towards your goals or not, right? And I want you to watch out for brands that play the net carbs game or that really use sneaky serving sizes. Don't just trust blindly. Really want to read the front of the package, read the fine print, because here's the truth. The FDA, there's not a real button-down process for these companies to get their labels pushed through. It's regulated terribly. And so it's up to us to be cognizant and to be aware of what this product that we're potentially buying just from a nutritional standpoint. This isn't about obsessing. This is about awareness to make informed, confident choices and really build the lifelong skill of nutrition. Because here's the truth. When you know how to read a label, you stop second guessing everything you eat. You stop outsourcing your decisions to apps, macro calculators, and you take control like someone who's in charge of their progress and of their journey. Now that you understand the big picture with flexibility, with balance, let's zoom in on the most important macro for both fat loss and gaining muscle, and that is protein. If you've ever struggled with hunger pain, slow results, slow metabolism, no energy, bad mood, it's very likely that protein is the key piece missing in that puzzle. Protein is your non-negotiable. It supports lean muscle. It boosts your metabolism. It keeps you full between meals, and it burns fat, not just weight. We're talking fat loss. Most people, when they first join the program, are under eating between 30 to 50%, and they have no idea about it. And it's exactly why we start with this foundation. Here's the bigger picture. This is your nutritional hierarchy. Calories are going to sit at the base because how much you eat determines whether you gain, lose, or maintain your weight. But protein, that's the first macro that matters. If you are not hitting your daily protein target consistently, it becomes really hard to change your body composition. And that's why I say don't just eat healthy, build every meal around protein first. Aim for at least 100 to 130 grams of protein per day, depending on body training and goals. Most all people should not be eating under 100 grams of protein. And yes, shakes, bars, and convenience staples count. You don't need to meal prep chicken 7 days a week to hit your numbers. You just need to be intentional. Start simple with some Greek yogurt, eggs, deli turkey, protein oats, a shake between meals. The moment that you get this dialed in, everything else, fiber, fats, carbs, water even, becomes easier. Now, Sam came to me after 3 strict months of keto. To me, drained, constantly hungry, moody, and honestly miserable with food. Like so many people, he was terrified to bring carbs back in, afraid that one bite was going to instantly put on all the weight that he had lost. But here's the truth. Carbs were not the problem. Fear and misinformation absolutely were. What we did is we rebuilt his plan around intentional training, 80-20 method, and flexible dieting. And you could see what happened with Sam. He absolutely transformed his body. He's eating 200 grams of carbs a day without guilt. And the results are undeniable. Clearly leaner, but he's 5 pounds heavier, stronger than ever. And he succeeded because we built a strategy around him and his life that he could actually sustain. Carbs are not the enemy. Rigid fear-based dieting is. So now I'm going to show you how you could take this information and apply it to yourself, start losing weight without restricting or cutting out your favorite foods. You don't need a diet harder. You need a nutrition strategy that works for your life, not just in January. I want you to start with alignment. Your nutrition needs to support what your goal is. So if you're looking to lose weight, you need a caloric deficit. If you want lean muscle, you'll need a slight surplus. But here's where most people go wrong. They guess. They cut carbs. They go straight clean food or carnivore or Atkins or try extremes, not knowing what their body actually needs. And this is why we start with your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. TDEE is how many calories your body burns to maintain your weight. And once we have that information, everything gets easier and more intentional. Eat 200 to 500 calories over that number for muscle gain. And if you want to lose fat, go 200 to 500 under it. If you want to know what your TDEE is, just use a calculator online and put your height, your weight, your age, and activity level, and you've got a very rough estimates baseline number. From there, you stop guessing and you start tracking for awareness, not perfection, because what is measured can be improved. And then it's not about just hitting your calorie budget, it's how you spend it. And that's what we're going to break down now. This is where the strategy kicks in. Think of your calories like a bank account. Every bite is a transaction, and how you spend affects how full you feel, how satisfied you are, how energized you are throughout the day, your mood, all the things. Here's the rule. I want you to spend 80% of your calorie bank on high protein, high fiber meals, nutrient dense choices, high volume options. Why? Because it's going to keep us full. It's going to keep us satiated. And then I want you to spend 20% on the ultra processed snacks, whatever tickles your fancy, the low satiety fun foods, the foods that burn through your budget fast, the unhealthy foods. This is the 80-20 rule in action. 80% whole food, goal-aligned intake, and 20% flexible food that you enjoy. Master this, and you're not just dieting. You're building a lifelong skill that gives you structure and freedom. But what about when life gets messy, Christian? That's when mindset becomes everything. Let's shift there next. This style of eating is really a mindset shift. And the goal here isn't perfection, it's intention. My clients follow 3 non-negotiables. That is, hit your protein daily first and foremost. Stay within plus or minus 100 calories of your range. And lastly, 3 total fruits and vegetable servings per day. If you nail these 3 consistently, momentum will follow. You'll feel more in control without obsession. The 80-20 method gives you structure and freedom, feeding both your body and your soul. The goal, a life and a lifestyle that you enjoy. Look, if this clicked for you, if you found value in this, maybe you're done with the extremes, starting over, or giving up the foods that you love, then this is your next step. I help clients take this strategy and make it real, make it sustainable, make it personalized for you and your life. You don't need another plan. You need structure, support, and a system that works long term. So here's what to do next. I want you to click the link below and book your free discovery call. On that call, we'll chat through your goals, your lifestyle, and map out a plan, not just for fat loss, but for long-term confidence, strength, and food freedom. You go further when you go together, and this time you do not have to do it alone. Book your free call, and let's make this the last time you ever have to start over again. Thanks, guys. Peace.